Monday, 20th of December 2021. Greetings from Rwanda's capital, Kigali. Heads up on tonight's edition. On Monday, President Paul Kagame was received by his French counterpart, His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, and the two leaders held discussions on various issues related to bilateral relations. Today, Monday, 20th of December, the latest COVID-19 preventive measures came into effect, and those in the country's transportation sector, as well as bar owners, have reiterated their commitment to ensuring that all preventive measures are respected in their line of work. A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa. To kick off our tonight's edition, let us inform you that on Monday, President Paul Kagame was received by his French counterpart, His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, and the two leaders held discussions on various issues related to bilateral relations. President Kagame's visit to France becomes the first since French President visited Rwanda in May this year. During his visit, President Emmanuel Macron reiterated that his visit was intended to recognize the role of his country in the 1994 genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi. At the same time, President Macron assured the commitment of his country in prosecuting those suspected of the role in the 1994 genocide atrocities. So far in France, 3 cases related to the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi have been tried. It is expected that next year, 2 more trials will take place in the country. The most recent was for the genocide perpetrator Claude Muhaimana, who was sentenced to 14 years in prison after being convicted of complicity in the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda and the complicity in the crimes against humanity at the time. Today, Monday, 20th of December 2021, the latest COVID-19 preventive measures came into effect, and those in the country's transportation sector, as well as bar owners, have reiterated their commitment to ensuring that all preventive measures are respected in their line of work.
The new measures stipulate that only people who have been vaccinated against COVID-19 can use the country's public transportation system, and other regular measures are also being respected. In addition to this, vaccination facilities are also available in major bus parks. The measures require that we only transport vaccinated people, so before we can provide a person with a ticket, they must provide proof of vaccination. We are doing our best to respect the measures in place, ensuring that social distancing is respected, and I believe you can see that people are even required to stand outside when there is not enough space. Officials at the Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority say they are closely monitoring the transportation sector to ensure that all measures are being respected. We are following up and working with those in the transportation sector to ensure that the measures are being implemented. We are also coordinating with the Ministry of Health to facilitate people who want to be vaccinated right there in the taxi park. We are therefore working hard to make sure that people get vaccinated so that they can protect themselves and others. Those going to bars must also be vaccinated. Starting with our own employees, all of them are fully vaccinated, and we also require that all of our clients are fully vaccinated as well. We are asking all our clients, indeed all Rwandans, to get vaccinated because this is the only way to defeat this pandemic. Indeed, top officials in the Ministry of Health have stressed that the latest measures are in line with fighting another sudden surge in infections. In Kigali alone, we are counting 46 people with the virus for every 100,000 in the last 10 days. That is the result of people becoming complacent towards the preventive measures, and we cannot let it to continue to escalate because if we were to allow it, there would be so many sick people we would be unable to properly care for them because of our limited resources. We will therefore not wait for that day to come. The minister argues that there is no reason why people should not be vaccinated when the government has secured enough vaccines to meet the task. There are many vaccines available, be it for those taking their first or second jab, and even the booster shot. Authorities have reiterated that they will not shy away from revising the preventive measures in place to adapt to the threat the pandemic poses.
And indeed, it's worth everyone's role and participation to stop the spread of the virus. Moving ahead, General James Kabarebe, the Senior Defense and Security Advisor in the Office of the President, has once again called on Rwandan youth to counter people online who try to distort the country's image using lies. The General made the call while speaking to the young men and women undertaking a civic course at the Humba Solidarity Camp in Rwanda district of the northern province of Rwanda. The Senior Defense and Security Advisor in the Office of the President also spoke of the legacy previous generations of the young men and women have left today's generation, pointing out that it was the convictions, courage and strength of the young men and women who used to be the soldiers of the Rwanda Patriotic Army that enabled them to stop the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi and liberate the country despite fierce opposition. He urges today's young people to emulate such qualities when tackling many challenges the country faces now. And moving ahead, some youth have expressed concern about the behavior of some of their peers who seem to care less about HIV testing so that they can know the state of their health. The Rwanda Biomedical Center, RBC, also acknowledges that this issue has been recurring, hence need for public awakening. We do have the details.
Nyongire Jackson is one of the young people who says he has not been tested for HIV for a long time now. I last tested for HIV 2 years back. I did not have sex in those 2 years. I'm just single. That's why I did not bother testing for HIV. On the other hand, there are some young people who have chosen to take the lead to constantly test for HIV.
It's been 2 months since I last tested for HIV. I'll get tested again soon to know the state of my health. I urge young people to always get tested to know the status of their lives too, and follow advice given to them by doctors so they can prevent themselves from different epidemics. At school, they encourage us to get tested, but some are afraid to go for the test. I advise them to always get tested so that they can know their health status.
The head of the HIV prevention unit at the Rwanda Biomedical Center, RBC, Dr. Basil Ikuzo, stresses some of the measures they have taken, including educating young people about HIV testing, plus encouraging those who have been infected to take antiretroviral drugs.
The
advice I can give to the youth and Rwandans in general is to take antiretroviral drugs in case you have been infected so that their lives can be better. Because when a person takes medications, they live longer than those who do not take medications. We encourage people to always get tested to know the status of their lives and take appropriate measures. A survey by the Rwanda Biomedical Center, RBC, in 2020 indicated that most of the young people do not constantly get tested for HIV, and that even those who are HIV positive do not take medications properly. About 3% of Rwandans aged between 15 and 64 are HIV positive. The city of Kigali alone accounts for 4.3% of the total infections. The northern province of Rwanda has 2.2%, the western province 3%, the southern province 2.9%, whereas the eastern province of Rwanda accounts for 2.9% of the total HIV infections in the country.
And back to justice matters, a Kicukiro Primary Court has decided to provisionally release 2 out of 13 people accused of terrorism and conspiracy to demolish high-rise buildings in Kigali city. Those that were provisionally released are Singira Ngabo Tulufu Idrissa and Mucho Evral, because the court found that the evidence presented by the prosecution was insufficient. The remaining 11, including one woman, were sent to prison for 30 days, where they will be followed up. The defendants asked to be released on bail for various reasons, including caring for their families. The Kicukiro Primary Court first read out the charges against each of them. In October, 13 people were arrested in connection with the terrorist attack in Kigali. Some of them are Rwandans and others are foreigners. And to move ahead, those who use daycare centers testify how it has reduced on their absence from work and enabled them to focus on their work while their children are being taken care of. Currently, there are slightly over 20,000 early childhood development centers in the country. We do have more with Gloria Mutesi.
Nyiranzabo Nihima Console, a parent from Monanira sector in Rutsiro district, is harvesting tea to be processed in the tea factory. She has a child who is being taken care of at the childhood center, which was set up by the tea factory. Console, who has been working for the tea factory for 5 years, together with other parents, say this childhood center helps them to be more productive at work. I'm always at peace even when I am not with my child because I know they are safe, as opposed to when they were home where they couldn't access proper nutrition. Before, I used to miss work a lot in order to be with my child. There were some women who used to work while carrying their babies on the back. It would rain on them and this was a hindrance to their work. But since the childhood center was established, this doesn't happen anymore. The children are well taken care of and the parents are productive too. In addition to the rural areas that have early childhood centers, this service is also present in Kigali City, according to Ndayambaje Jean Damascene, who has a child in an early childhood center in Kigali City.
While at work, a parent is always worried for the child they left back home, often calling to find out how they are doing. But once they are in the ECD, we are assured of their safety. They are able to sleep well, eat on time, therefore parents don't have any concerns.
The children eligible for the early childhood centers are those below 6 years because beyond that they are required to start primary school. Caregivers in the ECDs emphasize that in addition to the safety of the children, these children also acquire knowledge helping in their upbringing. We welcome them in the morning and make them feel at home and comfortable with us. Those that study will start their school. Those that haven't started studying are given to the caregivers. We give them porridge, they have lunch at midday and sleep. Studying ends at 11 a.m. This all helps the children improve their well-being. Across the country, there are 25,634 early childhood development centers, 21 of whom are model ECDs, 3,407 regular ones, 2,149 located near neighborhoods, and another 20,078 located in residential areas. The Director General of the National Child Development Agency, Umutoni Nadine, says that although the goal of having 3 ECDs in each cell has not been achieved, the current ones are producing tangible results. It's a different approach that the government put in place to take care of the children and have access to social services. However, they still need to increase capacity, especially in terms of manpower. There's certainly progress, but the journey ahead is still long. There are 14,837 villages in Rwanda. If each village had 3 ECDs as per the goal, the total ECDs would be 44,511 of them. Some of the services given to the children while at the ECDs include nutrition, good hygiene, safety, education, among others. And this has in turn increased productivity for parents in their workplaces, according to officials from various levels. The percentage of stunted children under the age of 5 dropped from 38% to 33% in the last 5 years, according to the latest figures from the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda. President Paul Kagame recently called on local leaders to work together to address the issue of stunting for the country's future development.
Abana bagwinjira.
Stunting among children, kids with kwashiorkor, some born with such conditions because their mothers may also need assistance, and other problems. We have been dealing with such matters for a while now, and you will find those problems in all districts. Do you ask yourselves what is missing in order to overcome these things? Stunting and malnutrition. Mind you, they have repercussions not just on those children, but the entire country when numbers become high enough. You must understand that when our children are stunted, so is the country. Is that what you want?
So, mushaka kuba igihugu kigwingiye? Do you want to be a stunted country?
Accelerating the process of establishing early childhood centers in all villages of the country was the 7th resolution adopted at the 17th National Dialogue Council.
On behalf of the entire news production team that made it happen, thank you very much for being with us. My name is Sam Kalisa, wishing you a safe evening and a fruitful week ahead. Bye.